Welcome to the Magma Classroom. This particular classroom series focuses on the basics of digital painting, starting with the fundamentals of value, shapes, light, and color. We've done a good few apples and spheres already in previous lessons, tried our hands at some more interesting still life studies, broken down simple landscapes, and even run a gauntlet of timed exercises to speed up the learning process. This weekly hangout is intended for the determined beginner, and we'll take our time to explore each subject and learn together. I'm your host Ryan, the resident painter and caffeinated Wookiee at Magma, and while I grab a tea refill here, you can find all the instructions for joining me on the canvas in the description below. Ready your drawing tablet, we'll be getting started shortly. Welcome to the classroom. Hello. I see we've got some people joining already. Lil Marino. Welcome. So, I'm Ryan. Welcome to the classroom, and we're making learning multiplayer here today by studying some Kintsugi objects. We've gone through all the fundamentals and stuff already, and now we're growing our visual library, trying to paint various kinds of subjects, and just getting familiar with all these things. So let me know if you can hear me nice and clear. Hey, Manju over on Twitch. Cool. Thank you for connecting with us there. If you guys want to join along, we've got all the information in the stream description. I do apologize if my audio and video gets a little bit stuttery. I don't know if it's because of weird weather or what's going on, but my connection is still giving me some troubles no matter which one I use. Before we jump in, I do just want to bring some attention to a couple of things. One is that our friends over at Wacom are running a special at the moment on the Wacom US store, where you can get their entry-level display tablet, the Wacom One, for $100 off. Nice option if you're a beginner looking for your first tablet. And then if you want to push your learning further, Schoolism is busy running their seasonal sale where you get $100 off. Annual subscription is now $200. You get over 50 courses that you can go through the entire year. Amazing, top-notch instructors. I really recommend it. That's running until the 6th of July. So that's all. Now we can dive in. Let me put on a little tune that we've all heard several times, because I've been so busy with other things that I always forget about the music, and it always catches me by surprise at the end. And I'm going to keep it nice and soft so that, if you want to paint along to some of your own music, you can do that. Okay, cool. So this is our second round of doing Kintsugi objects, and I have to apologize for the reference I chose last time on Monday's for Monday's session. While looking for new images for this one, it turns out that the one I used last time was actually an AI-generated image, which is not what I want for these sessions. As much as possible, we want to be looking at things, real objects, observing real life, the real world, because that's already going to benefit us much more. So if we can't set up a still life with these materials in front of us, the next thing we want is real-world, high-quality photos. Sorry about that. It was a really cool image, but unfortunately not what I want for these. It was quite tricky finding something that has a dark background. A lot of these objects that have been filled in with this gold seam to fix the breakages. They're often photographed with a white background, which I was really hoping for something darker, but it actually adds something quite interesting over here. So we got a very simple form. If you guys do want to join in, you can grab any of the canvases down below. If you click on the little film strip icon, you should be able to see all the other canvases. I've activated Blaze so that you can access beyond the 4th canvas and that you can access our new brushes. So you can grab a canvas for yourself, or you can watch me first or jump in at any point. Yeah, so I'm going to hide that for now. So the first thing we want to do before we jump in is create a new layer so that I don't draw over my reference, because I keep doing that. Okay, we have very simple forms here. You know, it's just ellipses, right? So in terms of the actual vessel, not too complicated. You know, ellipses, 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 and just some very simple lines. Okay, don't have to chat much about that, but that's going to be the first thing that we will do is put down the shape. Now, what we do see with this first one is that there's a lot of light bouncing around from the environment. Okay, it's set in this kind of white box, and so the light is all reflecting onto this fairly shiny ceramic piece. So here, instead of it being like a clear dark one side, light the other, we've got light coming in into the sides, also bouncing up off of the, light coming down, bouncing. So that's why we have this sort of light over here and over here. And this side tends to be the sort of darkest. Okay, so that's what we're observing here. And then obviously on the inside, a lot of the light's coming from the sides. With the metal, we notice more than just a single color as well. As with anything, we're always seeing multiple colors. And you kind of want to step back and squint and look at what you sort of see there, rather than try to get too specific about things. Just try and pick out those blocks of different colors. But we have it getting much warmer over here. This goes to sort of more orange, but the light is very white and cool, so not very saturated here. If I hold my eyedropper down, you can see it. We don't have a lot of saturation with the light, but as we move into the shadow, it gains quite a lot of saturation. If you look over to the color wheel, you can see how it sort of changes. And the same up here, but quite a bit of color in there, and even more so when we go inside the bowl. Yeah, so darker values, much more saturation, much warmer. These are little things we're gonna be paying attention to as we paint. If we look at, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. It might be easy here. The object itself, there's all kinds of different color going in. There's some like reddish browns. There's a bit of cool blue, probably got more to do with the light bouncing around, perhaps. So this section, or this lower half rather, has more of a coolness to it, while just above it we've got this sort of reddish brown color, just because of the way the light's bouncing. So we're going to focus on this one first. I know some people can move pretty quickly, so if you want to just jump in, you can. And then we've got a second image if you want to tackle that one. But because this first one, the gold is more prominent, we're gonna focus there. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I don't really like having a white background, but I'll go with something that's maybe off-white to the bluish side. That's still quite light. I'm gonna grab my pixel pencil. And this is just a 1 hour study, right? We're not aiming to get perfect paintings here. It's just us spending the time with the subject, making decisions to get closer to representing that object well. So if it doesn't come out the way you had hoped, that's fine. Most of these sessions, the painting's not as far as I'd like it to be. The point is that we're spending the time, making decisions, trying to understand what's in front of us. Okay. Let's set my comments open over here. You guys are welcome to ask questions or chat away if you want to. If I see we've got some more people joining who are watching, if you want to come along and paint, we've got a bunch of canvases available. I can always add more. And you can grab one of those and spend the next hour painting along with us, trying to make sense of this Kintsugi object. So my first thing, or maybe I'll sketch it out first. Let's roughly get the shape in. Oh, I want my pressure density on, please. Thank you. And I want an extra layer. There we go. Yeah, so those are watching, check the stream description for the details on how to join. You'll have to first join the Magma Artspace, the Classroom Artspace. Oh, that was a bit of a mess, but that's all right. Third potato, have you started painting? Not sure if it's showing. It's just because I was busy talking and demonstrating there. So long as it's, I'm glad it's showing up there. Like I mentioned, I've got some slight internet issues. So I'm just sort of plotting things down really, really roughly. But it's a simple shape, so it's not something I want to spend much time with. And there is, if we're looking at planes, by planes I mean the sides, of course we've got, this sort of more vertical plane that wraps around. But this is, at the top, is not just like a lined edge. It's got volume to it. So it comes up and it turns in. Up and then comes up, turns in. It gets a little thinner in parts because it's not a machine-made thing. This is a handmade ceramic piece. So there's some varied thickness to that plane. But it is flat and it's facing the light. So you do want to make that clear before it goes just into the darkness. Okay, that's the brush I want for that. Okay, let's erase those little specks. Okay, but I don't really need to spend time like sketching this out. Let's get right onto it. I'm going to still do it on a separate layer. And it's let's see, it's going a little bit towards cool. It's quite brown, this brownish red. So let's take out a bit of saturation. But yeah, it's just sort of like reddish brown, black. These hints of blue in it. What brush should I use? It really doesn't matter. I normally use just the square pixel pencil, but I'll make use of some of my own brushes here. Let's go with a nice chalky one. And I want to just adjust some things. Third potato. What happened to the other potatoes, I wonder? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is just block in. I want to get the overall shape first, the silhouette. And you could do this with a lasso if you prefer. The lasso full is great for putting the stuff in real quick. And that's maybe even too much what I put there. Okay, so I want these edges to be a little crisper. I haven't painted at all today, so I'm quite stoked to spend some time with this. Busy with typey things. I don't like using the eraser, so I color pick the background. So I actually silhouette. Let's get rid of that. And then inside, it's quite a bit darker. So let's take that color. It's practically black. Practically. Don't mention the other potatoes. Sorry for those who aren't paying attention, this is the YouTube cut. So we've got this oval here. Oops, that was a terrible line. Ah! I've color picked, that's why. Okay. Didn't realize I'd done that. Okay, and then I'm noticing all kinds of colors in here, so I want to just block in a little bit. Hey, eyebrow, welcome. Joining us nice and late today. Get some of these. So eyebrow is pretty much the reason I have to have a second image available. He just flies through the reference. And this is going a bit cooler in the light here, I think. Get possibly even a little bit more blue. Flies. It's true. And you see the gold element I only want to bring in later. Right now I just want to get sort of texture in of my object. There's a little bit of a shadow underneath it here, but there's so much light bouncing around that the change in value is not very dramatic. Let's see, this is probably going to be too much. I want this layer to be below. There we go. Let's soften that up. Let's soften that up. Just getting a little bit of a shadow in. Let's see, no. Way up. There we go. What have I done? Oh, there we go. So getting the texture is interesting. Just want to put down blocks of color. It's a bit more blue here, I think. That's way too light. Pushing buttons. Oh, not pushing buttons. It's gotten out of hand. How so? It should be a bit more desaturated, I think. Getting a bit more than you'd planned there. But that's great. Did they say that based on what they've seen you do so far, and that's why they want you to paint more? Or is it a bit of a misunderstanding? I see. Oh, why? Some weird. The touch sensitivity on this tablet, I'm not used to it yet. Let's turn that off. There we go. Now I should be alright. Yeah. And up here, we've got this quite a bit lighter. Other room. So I'm just blocking in shapes of color here. It's just to, I want it to be a bit rough. There's a lot going on. And to help with the blending or to have some softer edges, I've got my density set to pressure. Oh, which brush is it? This is the Chalky 1 brush, but I've adjusted it slightly to reduce the spread and the spacing. This is part of our new brushes. Developed. Put together by yours truly. Yeah. Great to hear some feedback from you guys. If you do use them, what you think. Maybe I need to make some adjustments. Yeah, the Chalky one just adds a little bit of texture, especially when you have the density to pressure setting up. But the idea with the golden bits is to do that later, not jump right into that, because it's easier to add the texture. Or if you want to do it on a separate layer. my shape isn't so good here. Values could be much lighter on the side here. And I know I've got my shape a little wacko here. Out of it. Got a lot of light on the sides. This could be lighter. It's amazing how much color is actually in these desaturated bits. The slightest change makes such a difference. Need to come all the way to the edge. We're almost losing that edge. Look closely here. It's difficult to determine that edge. Go to black and white. You can see the value change. It's much lighter. And we've got a bit of it over here too. Yeah, I knew this light background was going to get me swearing. Okay. Yeah, especially for you, where it's late at night, you don't want to be looking at this bright background. I mean, you can choose to give it a dark background. Back is killing me. So yeah, not old at all just yet. I want to get just some nice variation in color. Maybe let's be a little bolder here. Add in a bit of red. If I look at eyebrows work, I'm like, I need to be bolder with my colors. Look at that. Look at that. Looks so good. Okay. Why this could even be darker underneath, I think. Well, it works. It works from on my end. But yeah, it makes such a difference, hey? Having a monitor with the right coloring. It's calibrated correctly, nice and accurate. I have a growing list of things the moment I get my studio sorted out one day, which I can't have right now while I travel. Proper color accurate monitor. Yes, please. My approach before was to always go to the print shop with my stuff, get samples done, and then try and figure out based on those samples, okay, well, do I need to shift the color this way, that way, and I can make adjustments. Because on my screen, things lacked, it always lacked a bit of contrast. So when I go to print, whoa, everything's so much stronger. Okay, what have we got here? Yeah, I don't know. A lot of things are sitting at like 120, I think. What I'm using here now, to check what it says. Oops, lost my screen there for a moment. Okay, well now I suppose I can start adding in a bit of the gold. What's nice when you make these brushes much bigger, then you get that texture in. Which is why I like to, although I don't need it for this particular sketch, but generally we'll want to do like a base layer first, and then lock that, do like a clipping group. Still? Is it fine now? No, it looks like it's fine now. Okay. Yeah, it's like if I take just a moment to open up a different window, then it freezes. Have to have the window active. Kind of annoying. Not kind of. It's very annoying. Means I can't go off and do my own thing on another window. Can't go checking Discord. No, Ryan, you got to be focused. You got to be here on the canvas at all times. Hey, Mountain Pirate, welcome. Have we got enough canvases down below? I haven't checked. Hey, we're full up. Let me create a new canvas for you. Okay, we've got another one coming in here. It's the reference. I'll add a couple more canvases in case we get more people joining in. If you are watching and you want to join, just check the stream description. All the details are there. You can hang out and paint with us. Sharpen those skills, grow that visual library. Okay, now let's add in some gold. And I want to do this on a separate layer. And I want to go with just as much as the colors. Yeah, that's the well, with the gold I don't really need to put it on a clipping layer. But actually yes, that's what I'm gonna first do the just a base color, and then I'm gonna create a new layer on top of that that's clipped to that layer. So yes, yeah, there will be a clipping group. And I'm going to just make sure it will be full opacity. So we've got to change here. And I'm not worried about the values too much. Yeah, I just want a base color. And kind of figure out this sort of silhouette of just that. I've made a mess of things because I added paint. I hardly ever use the eraser, so sometimes it doesn't work for certain approaches. And we've got this one here. Whoops. That could probably come over a bit more. And we've got this one that comes. Why do I keep color picking the wrong thing? Something very weird with my cursor and color picking. I have a very hard time picking the right color. And we've got just on the edge here, there's something as well. Quite thin, so I'm going to carve that away. And these, we've got these. I'll look at the placement. This starts just off to the left here, and this is just off to the right. This is just off to the left of center almost between these. That makes a kind of V here. And this wraps, follows all the way around under here. Like a big Y. Wow. And let's get this shape looking a little nicer. Get a little bit of variation as well. I don't want it to just be a solid line. And there's a little bubble out here. Let's actually bring this one up a little bit. So there. Okay, so once we have this, once we have that shape, are you happy with how the gold rests on there? And if you've done this on a separate layer, that'll make things, the next part, much easier. Because now what we can do is create a new layer on top of it. If you look in the bottom left where I'm busy working now, I can create a clipping group, which then locks this layer down to the one underneath it. That's one approach, or I could just lock the opacity of this layer. Then I can't draw outside of this area. Either approach will work, but now what I can do is play around with the colors. And I can keep my brush big, it's no problem, and go beyond those various parts. Yeah, I think what happened there was I added paint instead of erased, to be aware of. And it's going to flatten here as well. It's much lighter here. So desaturate, shift maybe. Let's go a little bit more yellow. Saturate up here. Oops. Let's get that density, pressure density on, so it can fade out a little bit. A little bit more of it over here. Now I'm going quite lightly here because of, as much as I have my density set to pressure, it's set very high at 100% opacity, 100% I think. So even a light stroke is going to add a decent amount. Okay. And of course, we want to try and follow what's happening with the values, right? We know that on this rim over here, it's facing upward towards, it's catching a lot more light here. A lot of it's coming from the sides because of how much bounce light, but there's, we can see the light along the rim here, and so that's also going to carry through over the gold. So you want to maintain that relationship. We could even go a little whiter here. And I mean, that alone has already made it look like something. I know my shape, overall shape is it's a bit off. It's a bit off. Just a teeny little bit. But we are well underway now. Brighten up this background a little. Start merging some of my layers down. I don't like to have too many layers. And I can come in and maybe start refining shapes a little bit more. I feel like this has got a little light side that comes in here, like underneath, like it's getting that bounce light. Let's be a little bolder, I think. And this is kind of more blue, just a touch of it. lighter? That's a very good question. It comes from, I suppose, it's just spending time with colors and asking a lot of questions. So what I normally recommend is that people don't color pick from your reference. Avoid doing this, especially as you're learning, because you don't want to eliminate the questions you've got to ask yourself about what you're seeing in terms of color. I know I go through this in every lesson, but I can't stress it enough. And I'm finding it helps me a lot. I have to look and say, well, is this color warmer or is it cooler? Does it lean more towards the grays? Because saturation plays a huge role with these color relationships. Or is it gaining in saturation? Values is another thing to always pay attention to. But when it comes to the colors, I'm trying to find a starting point, putting it down, and then kind of looking and seeing, okay, well, that doesn't work. Because a lot of the thing with color is that it's about relationships. It's about how these colors look next to one another, and a color can look very different placed next to completely different colors. So often it's not about, like, I try not to worry about getting the right color right away. That comes with time and experience, and I'm still not too good at it yet. But getting an approximation, putting it down, see what it looks like next to the other colors. I mean, like, oh, okay, well, that doesn't quite work there. But if it doesn't work, why? What needs to change on the color wheel here for it to get closer? Does it need to be lower in value? Does it need to be more? Does it need to be warmer, which typically means gaining in saturation and maybe shifting around to warmer tones on the hue ring here. So it's going through that question process that's really helpful. Change the song. And I avoided doing color for a long time because it was just so intimidating. And I don't fully understand color, but I've got enough of the basics to ask the questions to move forward and hopefully figure it out. Let's change the track here. And it depends how exact you want to be too, because I mean, if you're trying to follow the reference, maybe that's a bit easier. But maybe you want to follow it just for the relationships of value and color temperature rather than the exact colors. Cool. No, I'm glad it helps. I saw Abrael made a comment here about colors. How to match any color with oil paint by Draw Mix Paint. Okay, something to check out on YouTube. I haven't seen that one. But yeah, it's really a process. Okay, so I want to get back into my yellows here. I want a richer, darker saturation. Obviously this bowl is going inward and we get slightly lower values. I find it's easier to think in color temperature rather than about the hues, and values are important, but then color temperature is the next thing. So with that, how's that good? When I talk about temperature, I'm not just talking about like warm and cold colors. Like red and orange for warm and blues and greens for cool. But a bit broader than that. When a color is warmer, it tends to be higher in saturation. When it's cooler, it tends to be a little bit more towards a desaturated gray. Edges. Okay, I'll get to that in a moment. So based on, you know, the color that I have now, I can assess, well, does it need to be warmer or cooler? It doesn't have to be exact to the, oops, I'm doing this on the wrong layer. It doesn't have to be exact to the reference. And yeah, that's one of the best things actually Eyebrow pointing out there. Things that are geared towards traditional painting make for learning resource when it comes to painting digitally. Digital just has some of the tools to do some things faster and easier. But in terms of understanding fundamentals, it's great to see how traditional people work. So the question about edges, I feel like when I use a flat brush, my strokes just look exactly like the brush shape. Yeah, so brush will play a part in your edges, but then you can start playing with the opacity or the flow, so, or opacity and density. Let's come in, yeah. And yeah, because then you start to not just put down a flat shape of color, it starts to blend in a little bit. But it's difficult to say without really seeing what you got. To really advise, I feel like I'd better explain with more of an example. Edges, things that create edges are going to be changes in value, changes in texture, of course changes in hue, color, temperature, these things. This needs to be lighter down here as well. And some areas you want to be much clearer. So there'll be a stronger contrast at edges where you want to draw attention. So I might want to bring more attention here, like this sort of rim brings a lot of attention because there's quite dark here and then very light next to it. It's a very high contrast. But I think what you're talking about is more getting that painterly look, in which case I find it's better to have my pressure and density. My density is set to pressures. Even if I'll take a pixel pencil brush here. Oh, you're in player 3. Okay, cool. I'll come have a look in a sec. If I take just a pixel pencil, which is square, it's just a square shape brush. Okay, that's it with pushing down maximum pressure and getting full density opacity. And let's turn off the size. If I don't have any pressure, then obviously things are going to be kind of a bit like this. You can play around with size and whatnot. But then if you want to get some interesting shifts, then you've got to start playing around with the colors. But either way, you're going to have this quite hard transition. But when you go set your density, then just lightly moving around, then things start to sort of blend in, and you get that more painterly approach. So yeah, that's it's kind of like a blending thing, but you don't want it to be too smooth when it moves out to other parts. But yeah, in the same way with a paintbrush, you're not going to be holding it down at maximum pressure all the time and fully loaded with paint. It kind of loses paint as you make your strokes. So you can kind of dab around, start off with hard edges and full opacity strokes. Now this needs to be a little darker here. Six primary colors. Yeah. How are we doing for time? Oh, it's only 15 minutes left. I might stick around a little longer because I haven't, as is always the case when I'm talking a lot, don't get very far. The mistake would be to keep your opacity and density too low. I had quite a tendency to do this, and you want to have some like bold transitions. You just don't always want to have very soft. It's almost like you're taking too much care to not get the wrong mark. Could even be whiter up here, I think. Actually, it's getting way warmer in here. Alright. Just having a little chuckle at Eyebrows comments there. Not bounce like a marshmallow. No. So I actually think this shape, I need to bring it out more. I haven't got this right. Yep, and that's the welcome to painting, where later down the process you realize you did something wrong and your shape is off. But the beauty of digital is that it's not too difficult to, or not too time consuming rather, to fix it up. But gold's got a lot of color in it. Here it's a little difficult to see, but in general gold has a lot going on. I think in the second example you can see way more sort of interesting variations in color. So that's why I like to start with a darker tone first, because it's usually a bit of a mid-tone. Get really rich warms. And then I've missed some of this here. Okay, it's not the worst. It's not the worst. I feel like there's still a bit more blue. Now, see what happens when you have quite a warm object. When you start to add grays to it, even if you don't change, let's see if I go here. You just change the saturation. You don't even have to change the hue very much. And it just looks so much colder with the next to the warms. That's why I say those relationships are so important. This is definitely wrong here. I need to get a bit of... It's a bit like this light's coming on. So with trying to get better with color, so what I'm thinking is doing, I think studies like this actually, and I've been going on about it as well in a lot of our classes, but doing these still life studies of relatively simple objects that maybe have interesting colors in them, or have a really strong set of values, a lot of interesting lighting, lights and darks, an unusual lighting scenario that you haven't done before, things where there's an element of it that could be easy for you, like maybe the shape, for example. Maybe the shape isn't too difficult to get down, and the colors are more interesting, and will be more of a challenge, but you like break down your challenges. So even if you're trying to get better at values, do a simple object and just focus on black and white for your values. And the same with colors, trying out something. Okay, that's a very reddish, very warm sort of reddish object. I want to do that because maybe in that you see that, oh well, it's not just orange, it's not just red. There's hints of blue over here, especially if there's other stuff around that might be reflecting. So simple object life studies and still life studies, very, very beneficial. I know I'm a broken record on that point, but it's like a thing I've rediscovered. Oh wow, still lives actually are not lame. They're actually so good for you. Why didn't I pay attention in art school? Why? Oh no, I'm learning. Don't make me learn. Be good right away. I want to skip all that learning stuff. Ugh. It's a journey, man. It's a beautiful one. Challenging and beautiful. Yeah, I just want to be good, man. I just want to be good. But I have noticed, especially since doing this this classroom series with you guys, my own painting has improved quite a bit since the start, I think. Or at the very least, even if my stuff doesn't look so great at times, because I mean, sometimes you have a good day, other times it's just, ugh, what is that? That I feel way more confident to tackle the kinds of things that I've never painted before, because I've done these simple studies and I've focused so much on fundamental stuff now. Because then you have like the toolkit to be able to understand other things. Read that label. So we are 3 minutes coming up on the hour, but you are, of course, welcome to keep painting. Some people have limited time, so they just use this as kind of almost like a lunch break painting session. But others who need sleep to get back to work, get out of here. But no, if you want to keep painting, please feel free. I will leave Blaze active for a little while, because since we do have some people on canvases a little later in the sequence, don't want you to lose access. I'll check in from time to time. Maybe I'll still paint a little while. My wife's busy teaching, so I don't have to do anything really. I can keep painting. I feel like this should come out a little bit, like I haven't. There's this clear step. And squint often. Squint your eyes often at your subject. If there is one thing you take away from the classroom, let it be this. Squint your eyes. Squint your eyes. You can see a lot when you do that. Ironically, I guess. Yeah, you've got a scoot soon too? Nice. Well, let me come and have a look here. Let's have a look at what people can do. Can you unfocus your eyes? Well, I think after staring at the screen so long, I don't have a choice. My eyes are just unfocused and tired. But yeah, it's almost like seeing past your screen. Not looking at sort of details, but letting the details blur out, and you can just kind of see large shapes of value and color without all the textual information. And the edges also start to blur, which can be useful too. Actually, that's kind of valuable information there, that you can get a sense of where there are stronger edges, particularly when it comes to values, when you squint your eyes. Really, you struggle to just sort of blur your vision a bit. It's so interesting. I mean, it's almost like trying to maintain that thing. Let's see. I have to try and think about the process, how to do it. Okay, let me go have a look at other people's canvases quickly. I ain't done that. Player 2. Let's see what you got. Ooh. Very nice colors. And that reflection is coming out. I'm really struggling with the reflection, but you nailed it. Awesome work. Little Marino. Little Marimo. Marimo, not Merino. And got that plane along the top as well. Perfect. Nice, looking good. Who we got here? Nano Docs. Aha! Now recognize the name. I see. Makes sense. No, this is looking really good. I suppose getting the edges is the tricky part. I would say that maybe this front edge before it goes into the dark of the bowl could be a little sharper. So on the image, it looks a lot crisper. So I think that might help a bit. But good job. Those colors are looking nice. Very sort of accurate colors. Who else we got? We got eyebrow, of course. Gone on to the second image, looking good. Ooh, I like the greens in that second one. Awesome work. Yeah, that's getting that redness in makes such a difference too in the first image. Everyone's done a great job. Awesome. Who we got here? Too much poker. Was it going at it? Looking good. I like that the sides here, these edges, you kind of lose them a bit because I mean that's what it's like in the reference. So you're capturing that really well. Starts to blend in a bit. And Radek is still here. Yes. Ooh, nice work, Radek. Interesting. How did you actually looking at yours now, seeing the sort of violet white background. Now when I look back at the reference, it actually does look way more violet to me. Maybe it's because of seeing it on the same screen. Very cool. And those highlights on the gold are spot on. Ooh, lots of texture going on here. Mountain Pirate. Looking good. Very cool. Getting the angle on the ellipsis is a tricky one. Yeah, great work, everybody. This is all looking awesome. Right, really well done. But lots of interesting sessions planned. The whole day I've been enough pretty balls to host a lovely feast, indeed. We got some very fun study sessions planned for the next 2 months. That's what I've been working on today, and so we'll be in typey organized. So you might see on the YouTube channel that we've already got a lot of live sessions scheduled. Some of the study sessions are going to play into the clubhouse sessions too, the themes that we have for those. So we're going to be looking at reptile skin. We're going to be looking at a bit of an environment study. We'll start off July looking just at a grayscale value study of a still life. Kind of go back to basics. It's always good to do some value studies from time to time. But if you're a beginner, that's definitely something you should be spending quite a bit of time on. And I've found those immensely valuable to just figure out values. Helmets? Aha. Not maybe where we in the week. I haven't set something for. What's our date today? Okay, 22nd. Okay, I haven't set next week's thing, so let's do helmets next week. Let's do helmets. There were some really nice metal helmets that you shared on Discord. I mean, it's all about the material, really, on those, which is awesome. Nice shiny metals, some weathered metal. There is actually a weathered metal subject for later on. I mean, July, I think we do a weathered metal thing. And we'll study some other materials. Woo, yeah. Let's do them helmets. Actually, time willing, I want to put together like just a few little resources for inspiration. Just go down here. So like that muddy colors post that you shared, I think that's great to share with people. Even for the clubhouse, I want to put together almost like a mood board. Get a sense of what I'm thinking and see lots of reference. But I will, actually that's going to be my task now when we wrap this up, is I'm going to make like a little poster thingy with our schedule of themes for July and August. And you can let me know what you think. Wait, I didn't quite understand that. Could use Magma Canvas and make one as a group. It's a grop. I was like, what is a grop? It's this... yeah, we could do that. We could do that. Why not? You mean all work on one helmet, or all work together on the same canvas, each painting our own helmet in the same space? It's been a while since we've all drawn on the same canvas together. Oh, I see. Make like oh, okay, I understand. Like the mood board is made together. I like it. Yeah, we can do that. I think ideally for each sorry, Player 3 was asking for feedback there. Did you catch my feedback, Third Potato, if you're still here? On the edge here, I think you did actually neaten that up a bit already. Because I was suggesting getting that nice and sharp, which you've got. Yeah, so the edges are tricky. That's probably when you want to shift over to... Oh, you got it. Okay. Different kind of brush. Instead of using just the textural one, depending on where you want focus to be. Because if you want a really sharp edge, it brings more attention, then you can use like just a hard round brush or something. But no, you did a good job there. Let's see what else. It's got some texture to it. Ooh, well spotted on those two really light rings on the rim there. I missed those. Well spotted. Yeah. No, good work. Got a very subtle shadow underneath as well. Nice. Did very well. Okay, so we're 10 minutes over. I think I'm going to end this stream here. Thank you very much, guys, for joining in. I hope you found the study helpful and are looking forward to the next ones. I'm quite keen. Alan and GL, yo. No one ever says that, right? Come on. No one says that. What are you doing? Cool. So, whoops, I keep trying to paint, but I have a hidden layer that I'm trying to paint on. Very smart. Let's fix that up quickly. Cool. Yeah, thanks everyone. I hope you have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. If you're about to go to bed, rest well. And we'll see you next week, Monday. We do another classroom session, different time. So for our people in different time zones. But then Wednesday we have the clubhouse, and Thursday another classroom ongoing. So if you want to keep working on this, cool, have fun. Do share. If you're on our Discord server, be sure to post your finished piece in the share your art channel. That'd be cool. Alrighty, where's my outro? Where's my outro? Somewhere here, somewhere. There we go. Okay. Bye, everyone. Stay well.